It was a lively 2 weeks at the U.S. Open that captivated the tennis world, from the youngest American female to claim the women's single title since Serena Williams back in 1999, to the U.S. men's single winner Novak Djokovic claiming the title of the most Grand Slam titles of the era. Welcome back to Penn State Sports Night, where we dive into the U.S. Open. My name is Cora Rodriguez, and I am alongside Cailey, Thalman, and Kendall Skalicky. Now, let's start off with the women's final that occurred on Saturday. The match was between Coco Gauff and the world's number one, Cailey. Let's talk about this match.
Absolutely. Coco Gauff brought so much energy to the U.S. Open this year in the tournament just because she is so young and she's such a bright light. So I was really, really excited to see her win. And honestly, in that finals match, I didn't think she played her best tennis of the tournament. Sabalenka came out and won that first set 6-2, and she entirely dominated. Her power on her serve and her forehand especially were just not really a match for Coco Gauff at the beginning. But then Gauff came in and started playing really good defense, and Sabalenka started to get really frustrated. So I think where Gauff had the advantage this entire match was her mental toughness. And that's something Sabalenka just did not have. She gets really frustrated when things start not going her way. And so I think that's where we saw her fell apart and Gauff take the championship.
Completely agree, and I think we've seen this a lot from Sabalenka. She is very weak mentally on the court, but when she plays her game, she, as you said, is so dominant. She is so powerful, and I think brings women's tennis to a completely different level. In that first set, Coco was having such a hard time, and then as soon as Coco started to adapt, Sabalenka just fell apart. She gets so frustrated, and that's something she's going to really have to work on if she wants to hold that number one spot. But Coco played outstanding, and she's a star, and I'm so excited to see what's to come for her.
Now let's transition into the men's finals between Djokovic and Medvedev. It was also an interesting matchup, I will admit that. Kendall, please talk about this match.
I think what separates Djokovic apart from all the other men is his ability to read his opponent's strengths and weaknesses and attack those weaknesses. He never comes on the court and just plays the same game. He always has a game plan, and he is such a smart player, and I think that's why he's had so much success. And yes, it can get tiring to see the same person hold up that trophy 24 times, but he deserved it, and that's what happens when you're as disciplined as he is. And I think his discipline in every aspect, whether that's his exercise, his diet, his mentality, he is tough as nails mentally, and I think that is what has led him to this level of success.
Kendall, I completely agree with you. There is no weakness to Novak's game right now. His serve, on point. His baseline play, on point. And his play at the net is on point. And most importantly, his head is on point. And that's where a lot of players struggle. And he's coming to the point where he's in his mid-30s. People are questioning his age. He proved in this match that age is just a number, and it does not matter for his play. He's absolutely deserving of the titles he's gotten it, and the crowd is never on his side. He's struggled with that all his career. He always seems to be the victim in these major tournaments, but it doesn't get to him, and that's why he's the champion that he is. So kudos to him. He did a great job. He's absolutely deserving of this title, and hopefully one day we start to see some names taking those titles instead of Novak.
Which that actually leads me into my next question. I believe that Blake Shelton will be that next person. And during this U.S. Open, we have seen quite a few American tennis players in the quarterfinals, men and women's, which please talk to me about how this is significant and how this will expand into America.
Absolutely. Ben Shelton, Frances Tiafoe, Coco Gauff, Jessica Pegula, Taylor Fritz. There are a number of American tennis players that have done a phenomenal job as of late. Madison Keys even. We had so many Americans in the quarterfinals, even semifinals, and that's a really bright light for American tennis. Honestly, it was losing a lot of traction in the U.S., especially after Serena retired and Venus is getting the end of her career. And we were looking at who would take that torch for the Americans. And honestly, now there are 6 or 7 names of people who are taking that torch. Everyone's focus right now is on Coco because obviously she just won. But there are so many Americans, and I'm really excited to see, Kendall, where this goes in the future and how people in America are really going to focus on tennis coming up.
I agree, and I think something that people don't realize about tennis, and the reason why it was on the decline in America is that it is a very grueling and lonely sport. You're out there by yourself. Every mistake, every loss, it's all on you and nobody else. And that takes a toll on people. And I think that's why a lot of people end up having to walk away from the sport. That being said, I think it's so exciting to see all these Americans making it so far into the draw, and these personalities like Tiafoe and Shelton. They are so exciting to watch, and I think Shelton needed to be humbled by Djokovic. So hopefully his immaturities will stay at that match and he will continue to grow, but it's so exciting to see them pull through. In terms of Taylor Fritz, a lot of people think he is going to be the next top player. I don't see that with him. I feel like once he gets to the Djokovic, the Rafa matches, he can't really stay with those guys, but I feel like people like Frances Tiafoe have that grit and that drive, and I see him being one of the next top players. And then, as you said, obviously on the women's side, they're just thriving, and it's really great for American tennis and the game as a whole.
I just know I am extremely excited to see where tennis goes in America. Even though the US is officially over, or the US Open is officially over, it would be interesting to keep track of these tennis all-stars to see what they do before the Australian Open in January. But for now, subscribe to our YouTube channel, Penn State Sports Night, and follow us on social media for more updates on not only tennis, but many sports throughout the year. For Cailey, Thalman, and Kendall Skalicky, I am Cora Rodriguez, signing off.
Hey everybody, thanks for tuning into this edition of Penn State Sports Night.
For more content like this, be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel, give us a like, and follow our socials down below.
And as always, we are
Penn State Sports Night.